Sometimes saying yes can cost you your peace. Welcome back to Verse to Life with Honey Made Love, where we take the word and turn it into real life. That was something I had to learn the hard way. I had a situation that come up recently where I was asked to take on something heavy, and I stepped in. I helped. Then there was a point that came where I had to decide, was I going to carry this long term? And that's something I really had to sit with because I knew something. If I say yes, my peace was going to be affected. My home was going to feel it. My kids was going to feel it. And I wasn't going to be able to fully show up in my life like I needed to. So I prayed. And the hardest part wasn't even the decision. It was the feeling behind it. Because I was thinking, what was the people, my family was going to think, to say? Was I wrong if I say no? Should I just push through and deal with it? And that hit me right there. A lot of us get stuck right there. We don't make decision out of peace. We often make decision out of guilt. And a lot of us make decision off of other people's emotion and what they feel. That needs to stop. And scripture show us this. But instead of rushing the decision, I ran to my refuge. God, I got still and I prayed. And I asked God, what is right for me right now? Not what looks right, not what feels expected, but what was actually aligned for my life. And the answer was clear. And the answer was no. And I'm not going to lie. That was hard to accept. But it was clear. And scripture actually speaks on this. In Galatians 6:5, it says each person should carry their own load. And no, it doesn't say, and I'm not saying don't help no one, but it does mean everything is not yours to carry. Some things are other people's responsibility. And when you take on things that you weren't meant to carry, you become overwhelmed and drained. Then 1 Corinthians 14:33 says, God is not an author of confusion, but of peace. So I had to check myself. Is this decision bringing me pressure, stress, and confusion? I had to ask, is this really from God? Because God brings clarity. God brings peace. Even in hard situations, you still feel a sense of peace in it. A lot of us have a habit of saying everything we're going through is God's will. That's not true. Because if you're going through some crazy situation and there's no sense of peace, that's not from God. That's your own decision. That's your own will. And you leaning on your own understanding. Not saying when we go through a healing process that we are not going to go through a storm. But God's peace and lessons, what you will call a storm, or, we got many names. It's a sense of peace in it. But when we move of the will of our own in the world, it's chaos. You feel drained, overwhelmed, no peace, no clarity. That's what it means that God is not an author of confusion, but of peace. And that's when it clicked for me. Saying no didn't make me selfish. It meant I was finally choosing alignment. I was choosing peace. I was choosing to protect my home. I was choosing to stay in the position for what I was called for. Because if I would have said yes out of guilt, I would have been drained, overwhelmed. I would have been frustrated and out of alignment. And that would have affected everything around me. So if you're in this place right now where you're trying to decide to say yes or no, pause, sit with yourself, see where it's coming from, and always be honest and ask yourself, am I doing this out of love or out of guilt? Because those are two completely different decisions. And one will bring you peace and the other will drain you. Verse to Life with Honey Made Love, where we take the word and turn it into real life. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Peace, love, and light, and gratitude.